bring before you this evening one of the core principles we uphold throughout our society at national and local level, and that is of democracy. In 1605, a devastating planned attack to blow up Parliament in a treacherous act to rid England and Scotland of its king was successfully foiled. Remembrance and Armistice Days fall also in November, and yesterday we honoured our fallen who fought for freedom and democracy. Both events were commemorated last week by Evesham Town Council, and we give you thanks, Lord, for the Council's hard work in bringing these events to our town. We ask a blessing upon our councillors and their staff team as they uphold the principles of democracy, and particularly as they navigate the issues which are so very important to our townsfolk. Lord, we give you thanks for all those present here tonight, and we ask that you will be a guiding light and remain firmly in focus as we strive to uphold these deeply held principles. Amen.
Amen.
I now offer the meeting open to members of the public who may have a question. I would ask you to indicate if you wish to raise a question. If you do, I will call you and ask you to identify yourself, the area where you live, and then put your question to the council. Thank you. Do I have any questions from members of the public? I see one. Would you like to identify yourself, please, and then pose your question?
So my name's Laura Van-Toller. I'm the chief organiser for Anti-Litter Evesham. So I've got two questions, if that's all right.
Yes.
Can I ask them now, or do you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So.
One at a time.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if everybody in this room, every town councillor, organised a litter pick for their area? Now, it doesn't have to be as often as I do it, because I'm more extreme than you guys, but I would come and help you organise a litter pick. So if we did it yearly, is there 23 of you? We could literally cover so much ground in Evesham, more than I am at the moment. I'm stretched, I can't do it all, and I shouldn't be doing it all either. So that's the first question.
Laura, could I just quickly answer that one for you? We all know the extreme hard work that you and your team do. I hear your question. If you would like to put that as a formal request to the town clerk, then that will be discussed and we will come to an arrangement with you to see that that happens. Does that help you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be lovely, because you know Anti-Litter Evesham was formed by the Evesham Town Plan in 2016.
Yes. Question
Okay,
two.
quickly, very quickly. If you're going to purchase the Overton litter picking machines, can this be loaned to Evesham Place Board, Evesham community groups and local businesses for them to use? So it doesn't fall on the responsibility of myself as Anti-Litter Evesham.
Okay, obviously it's a recognised question. Julie.
Thank you, Laura. We haven't discussed that. It hasn't come to council, but the Place Board is talking about it, and they're talking about something very similar.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, further to that, Laura, if you'd like to put that in writing to the town clerk, then we will not only discuss it and put it forward to the council, but from what Julie Tucker has just said, we will also bring to the attention of the Place Board as well.
Yeah, thank
It
you.
is. It is already.
Okay. Anything else, Laura? Okay. Do I see any other questions from members of the public? Okay, thank you. In that case, I'll move on to the first item on the formal agenda. agenda of apologies for absence. Tampa.
We have no apologies today.
Thank you. I now move on to item 2, declarations of pecuniary or other interest in accordance with the Town Council's Code of Conduct, including requests for dispensation, if any. Are there any from councillors? I see nothing, so we now move on to item 3, presentation from representatives of Stratford and Worcester Paint Festivals. Over to you.
Hello everyone, me and my friends Kate and Ali are here to talk to you today about the potential of public art in your town and how it can boost tourism and increase local community engagement. We'll all introduce ourselves separately. I'm Melanie, a street artist, also known as Seventh Pencil, and co-founder of Make Murals and Workshops CIC. I'm a full-time street artist with 15 years experience and lots of high-profile clients under my belt. I paint murals for a living. I'm an internationally renowned artist, and I've got permanent works in London, Cheltenham, Worcester, Southampton, Portsmouth and Stratford. As a young person, I was captivated by the way street art could transform spaces and connect communities. I strive to create art that has the same impact, inspiring, teaching and empowering those who experience it. I've already been doing work in Evesham with Our Side Youth Centre, and I did a small project in Charity Brook Park with Wychavon District Council last year. I facilitated 5 workshops and created 2 murals, funders being the Peace Crime Commission and Wychavon District Council. My intention is to enhance as many communities as possible with public art initiatives, increasing tourism as well as local satisfaction with engaging mural art. This has led to the creation of Make Murals and Workshops, a CIC that has community at its heart and is dedicated to delivering high quality projects. I'm working with Ali Glover and Kate Cox to deliver these projects, both festival producers with proven track records, and here are some of their stats and info about their festivals.
That's a picture of us. Hi everyone, I'm Kate Cox and I'm the founder and creative director of Worcester Paint Festival. I'm a neurodivergent established producer, 35 years working in the professional creative industries and over 20 years experience in live events and festival delivery, including community engagement, visionary creative project management. Worcester Paint Festival is an annual event that celebrates street art and graffiti writing, and since 2020 we have delivered over 100 visible, accessible, high quality outdoor murals within Worcester City Centre and the wider region, including socio-economic areas. We've delivered lots of community engagement strands which reaches directly with community centres, primary schools, youth groups and local residents. A major exhibition of street and graffiti art history at Worcester City Museum and Art Gallery, which attracted 18,500 visitors in just 3 months. And we've also helped to launch the city's first legal wall, which is a safe space for graffiti writers to practice. Here are a few examples of some of the murals that we've delivered over in Worcester. Just you can see the diversity, lots of different styles of artwork, from nature, photorealism, fonts, all sorts of different examples. Worcester Paint Festival has worked with partners including Worcester City and County Council, local charities and organisations including the Museum of Royal Worcester, Onside, New College, Action for Children, Canals and Rivers Trust, Platform Housing and many others. We work with city businesses including Crownhead Shopping Centre, St Peter's Garden Centre, again many more, and funders have included Arts Council England, the Elmley Foundation, the Brantford Trust, local authority and private sponsors. This is an example showing the power and the impact that a piece of street art can have when you see the before and after shots. And it really is quite a powerful medium. And just a few statistics. I don't expect you to look at my scribbled chart there, but it is, I think it has come through to you in some notes, but I will just summarise that These are statistics from 2021. We did actually start loosely in 2020, but it was a COVID year, so we launched a couple of murals. So the statistics really are from 2021, which was our first full festival. So from 2021 to 23, they were very large events. We had lots and lots of murals. The public art, visitor numbers and reach all grew in this period. We peaked in 2023 because, as well as the usual festival, we also helped launch the city's first legal wall, which was established alongside local graffiti writers, and we curated the Paper Streets exhibition at Worcester City Museum and Art Gallery, so it's a really good year for the event. And then for 2024 and this year 25, it's evolved into a much smaller, more community-focused event, still showing healthy engagement both directly and online, but we've got less murals, but high engagement. Our visitor weekend statistics are rounded up, but they are based on actual data from websites, click counters and paper maps collected from tourist information and various hubs in the city. Additionally, we know from data and the tourist information that visitors continue to visit all year round during the trail at any time of the year. It really does show that this type of public art is very good value for money. And our online reach is an approximation based on actual figures from Facebook and Instagram reach alongside artist and blogger shares. You can see that in 2024, just one artist's post had over 200,000 likes. It really does show the power that some of the artists and bloggers have on social media when it comes to sharing and documenting some of the murals that we help to curate. And then just finishing off on my part with a few nice quotes from the city centre about Worcester Paint Festival, which I will leave you to read yourselves, but really about how it feels safer, more positive, brighter. And then over to you, Ali.
Hi everyone, so I'm Annie Glover from Paint Stratford. So when we pitched the summer festival to Stratford-upon-Avon, we expected to do something quite similar, as in a weekend festival, but due to the unique landscape of Stratford-upon-Avon and the heritage area, we quickly adapted to make it into a mural trail that built gradually through the year. So first year achievements, bear in mind we thought we would do about 10 projects in the beginning. So we far exceeded that. In the first year we actually did 24 projects within the community, and that's 12 professional murals at landscape locations across the town. So whichever route you take into Stratford-upon-Avon, hopefully you should see something that we've created. We also did 12 workshops, and they were single sessions and multiple sessions, and we worked with lots of different groups within the community. These groups all contributed to the artwork, so it really was, an organic way of working and making sure that everybody felt a sense of ownership from the murals. And then in addition to that, we had 2 exhibitions that participants were, which were really well attended, and lots of people across the community came, and we had lots of brilliant press on those as well. So here's some pictures. We've got some murals and people engaging with the artworks. Lots of different groups came in here, from very littlies through to the older generation. So and we found that it was really great that people worked together from lots of intergenerational working. It was quite a nice collaboration process. Our funders include Stratford Town Trust, Stratford District Council and Warwickshire County Council. Along with funding us, they were our biggest partners in helping us with logistics and facilitating with walls, and they're highly invested, and the partnership working turned out to be one of the most valuable things and really helped with a lot of our coverage as well. So here's a before and after shot of the Kane Kennett Centre, which is out in the community, so this is out of the town centre, very well used community centre. Lots of people that live that side of town don't necessarily come into the town centre, and this has been one of our most photographed walls, and you can see what a complete transformation that has been. So local partnerships include, among many others, we worked a lot with the community centres. Fred Winter Centre, one of our biggest partners, is a homeless charity. We've done lots of workshops with them, and that's really reaching out and see, kind of people that feel outside of the community. We developed some brilliant artworks with their Mel painted mural at the centre to directly reflect how they felt about their community. Bishopton, Ken Kenneth Centre and Escape Arts all really organisations that directly work with the community, and they've been awesome partners. And of course Stratford Visitor Information Centre has been a great place to have a mural because everybody that comes through Stratford will pop into the Visitor Information Centre, find out what we're doing in Stratford. While they're there, they can see a lovely piece of artwork and pick up a location list, which they can then follow the trail around town. So a few statistics. We've had 216 workshop participations over 69 hours of workshops, 100 volunteer hours donated working with 16 unique local volunteers, over 100,000 social media views, and over 1,200 Google Map hits. So this is the online map, and then we also hand out printed locations during each installation, and that's about 200 per mural we've handed out. And then we've been in the press every month of the year, and we've had 22 press articles, including Stratford Herald and the Observer and BBC News. So there's some lovely quotes. So this fantastic improvement offers a wonderful welcome to our town, clearly showcasing the value of dedicated teamwork and funds well spent to enhance our community. What an incredible transformation. Beautiful results show that amazing things can happen when we work together as a community. The workshop and artwork were fantastic for us, creating a friendly atmosphere where everyone felt welcome to participate. It was a memorable day for all involved. Okay, that's the end of the slides. So I'll read out a little bit about our vision for working in Evesham. Now we have set more detailed plans, so this is kind of a captured rundown of the plan. So our vision is to bring cultural vibrancy to the town, making it a more engaging place to live, work and visit. Our proposal uses a three-phase approach to build momentum, secure funding and guarantee community ownership. We start with phase 1, pilot and community engagement. This is about quick wins. We'll use small, highly visible campuses while working with diverse local groups to ensure that art reflects Evesham's unique stories. This generates immediate public confidence. Next, phase 2 is expansion and destination creation. We'll scale up to full-size murals, turning areas into dynamic destinations. And for phase 3, our long-term goal is sustained cultural contribution, large-scale and landmark ambitious wall installations. So we're ready to handle the operations. We have lots of experience between us, including funding applications, logistics and permissions. We are well equipped to target key grants like the UK Shared Prosperity Fund and Social Mobility grants, where our project perfectly aligns. So we're incredibly excited for the potential for public arts to contribute to Evesham's economic and cultural vitality. Thanks very much for having us. Let's make it happen.
Thank you for that. I'll ask the questions in a moment. I'll just start off with one question. Have you identified any particular areas in Evesham where you think you could make a great contribution and a difference to the town?
So there are potentials for sort of shops. There's no specific areas. We had a walk around earlier today, and I've been talking with Ben on the district council about certain areas that could do with some attention. No areas are kind of set in stone. We want to talk to the community, we want to talk to councillors, we want to talk to people who know areas, who either have areas that feel unsafe or areas that they feel would need beautifying. We want to hear from you about what you want mostly.
Okay, so if I asked you to give contact details to the town clerk so that she can circulate them to councillors so that they in turn can put forward their ideas, suggestions, so that you've got a base to go from, you'd be happy to do that. Okay, thank you. Everyone please note that. I'm going to take questions. John first, then Julie, then Robert.
Can you tell us obviously where you've done these projects?
We can't
Has
hear
it
you.
had an effect? Sorry, I do apologise.
You don't need that.
Has
Speak
it
into
had
the
an effect
microphone.
on local graffiti? Do you
In
find
what sense do you mean?
in the sense of because a lot of artists like their own areas. What I found with graffiti and it's all about marking an area. When you find that you come in, is it lowering the normal sort of graffiti because people respect the art?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
I think we certainly find, don't we, in both places that there's a respect between the community there and that, you know, a lot of the time we'll work with some of the younger kids as well to get them involved so that they feel more engaged with the projects, you know, not rather than maybe isolated.
So you have to find a lowering aspect in graffiti.
And we have been asked to have any of our murals been vandalised, have
That's what I was
so I've been in over 100 murals.
Yeah,
How many of you
one
have
maybe.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, the artwork's
It's
very
about
objective.
as well, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
and the respect for sure. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I mean, obviously you can never, you know, say that's the case, but
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Julie.
Yes, I just wanted to make the point that our latest town plan contains one proposal in there that we should support an art, well, we said a competition, but something like this would be even better.
Yeah.
So I think I would certainly hope that the council is willing to support this and give it as much support as we possibly can.
Robert.
Yes, I'm fully in favour of the idea. From a personal point of view, the only place I can think of is the bridge, which everyone identifies. But we do need ideas. Should we roll this out, as we've got the press here tonight, for the population's ideas? So that we take the population with us for their ideas of where we can put this wonderful stuff.
Okay. When you say the bridge, do you mean the viaduct bridge?
Viaduct bridge, yeah.
Right, that is already under discussion.
Yes,
there is a network involved with that, and there is a meeting coming up shortly where to identify artists with their etc.
Yes,
so that is currently under discussion.
I know, but it's the only obvious one. That's the point.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not sure if this is actually working.
It is now.
It is now. Right. Okay. Just to say before I forget, one of the buildings that may benefit from this, if you're walking across the other bridge by the Methodist Church, straight ahead of you is the side of, I don't know what it is now, but it's quite tatty. So if you're going into the Methodist car park, immediately to your left, there, so Julie's nodding her head, I think she knows what I mean. That's just off the top of my head. I think it's a fabulous idea. I think it's really good.
From what I was saying earlier, if you'd like to put that through the town clerk with details, you can then liaise with them and put your suggestion forward, and I thank you for it.
Yeah, so I'm generally in support of this because I've seen you work in Stratford and Worcester, so it's brilliant. So yeah, but building on a little bit of what Emma's saying, there are parts of the town where the walls are a little bit tatty. So do you make good the walls before you paint them? Is that part of something you do, or would you be looking into us or Westhaven to do that for you?
I think that, and actually this was something I felt quite important to say now, is that you can't just paint any wall, and that there's lots and lots of things to consider when painting a mural on any wall. So if the wall was too damp, for instance, it could impact the artwork, it would mean that, you know, the longevity of the piece would be shorter. So there are so many considerations. Some artists like painting portrait, some like landscape, some like rendered, some like brick. You know, there are 1,000,001 different things to consider, and it's not as straightforward as there's a wall, let's put a piece of art on it. You've also got to, you know, liaise with the owner, the funders, the artist. You know, there are so many considerations. But as a general rule, I think, and certainly over in Worcester, we, if we're painting any mural, we would generally prime it first, and I think that goes with all of us really, or artists as well. You know, yourselves, you would possibly prime it because you really want the wall to be at its best, so that it will last for the longest period of time. So, but it would really, everyone is an individual case, I think. So it would be something that we would want to discuss, you know, with the owners, with the funders. Sometimes people will prep a wall for us, you know, certainly, which is great. It really helps, you know, bring down costs, things like that. But sometimes we'll do it ourselves. But each case is totally individual, and the same with each wall that could be offered. You know, there are lots and lots and lots of considerations. If it's a big wall, can we get equipment underneath to make sure that we've got the safety we need for an artist to get up there? For instance, you know, if there's a load of bushes underneath, you're not going to be able to maybe get up there, you know. So there are so many things to consider, but each one would be very individual, and you know, we'd be happy to discuss each consideration. Does that answer?
So,
Thank you. How many pieces, so I suppose it's a three-way sort of question. How many pieces would we be looking to put in the town? What is the cost to the council? And I want to say this because it's how I feel, but it might be a bit blunt. Are we just jumping on the bandwagon thinking that it's going to be looking really pretty and nice? Because to me, some is nice, but it's got to be the right thing in the right place. And once it's up, it's up. It's very hard to get rid of. If we're on about putting it on ugly buildings, can't we make the ugly buildings look nicer without painting on them?
Yeah, that's the idea with the phased approach, to be honest. We don't want to come in and blitz the town with lots of large-scale murals. So I think the way we did it in Stratford was very much a pilot project, test the water. As we said, we kind of were doing an installation once every month or so, working with the communities around there to see what they would like, and so that they could give input and feel a sense of ownership. So very, very softly feeling the way, and the sky's the limit with how many we do, but it's all something that we can do as a progressive thing. So it would depend on the funding, on the budgets, the walls that were offered. But we certainly don't want to oversaturate, but you know, as we'll say, the curating process is very important. So that's something we would have to place towards work with the council through. So.
And I think we've all got a lot of experience of curation actually at a quite high level, so there's a lot of consideration about where to place a certain artist's work, for instance, and that is crucial really to this theme. You don't just put anything on anything, you know, it's about really considering the environment.
Yeah. As we've seen, Stratford-upon-Avon very different to Worcester City Centre, and that adapting the process and the model has been really important for us to figure out what was right for Stratford-upon-Avon. This will be part of the process for each. Every town's different, we need to adapt that. Does that answer?
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
Feel free to drop us a line with any other questions.
okay, I've got three more. Sharon, followed by Emma, followed by Chrissy. Sharon.
Hi, this is aimed at the representatives from Worcester. I've had a while.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Sorry,
We can't hear you.
I'm trying to
Look
that way. Sorry. I've spent a little time in Worcester lately, and I've come across lampposts and I think electric boxes that are painted. I mean, I've got one here. Is that something to do with yourselves, or is that somebody else?
That was a Worcester Bid project that came up after Worcester Paint Festival had started. So they did the lampposts, and they did some of the utility boxes, but then they came to us to, so we curated 15 of the utility boxes in the city centre as part of Worcester Bid. But the lampposts are them, and they worked with one or two artists in the city.
But is it something you could do?
Absolutely, and we have done, this year at Worcester Paint Festival we had a couple of utility boxes, absolutely. And in fact that's a nice, easy way to start, and something we've talked about in our phase one really, of doing smaller things, whether it's utility boxes, shop windows, empty shop windows, hoarding, areas that are quite easy to access and really, really make a big difference.
Yeah.
They do,
yeah,
we thought that, because you've got like a swan one, and then there's a pink one, and various others.
And they look great, don't they?
Yeah.
You know,
and they certainly lift the area.
They do. Yeah, we absolutely have the capacity to deliver that.
Okay, I appreciate there's a question for you asked, and obviously it's your presentation, but I don't want to drift too much off of it. If there are ideas that you've got, if there are thoughts, and you would like the group to offer you products or examples of their work, can we do that outside of this meeting, please? I want to concentrate purely on their presentation and specific questions. Emma.
sorry, it doesn't want to stay on. I think somebody else is on. Can you hear me, Andrew? Thank you. Yeah, this might be outside your remit, but it was very, very quick, just to respond to Sam, in that I see that the benefits aren't just visual. I think we need to be looking at, you know, the community engagement and the fact that it is... I just want to ask, is this... I'm neurodiverse as well, by the way. Have I understood this correctly, that this is something which the whole town and anybody who wanted to be involved could be involved in, basically?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, we spoke this afternoon in the Place the Wood meeting about what we could be doing before we even deliver anything, and we would be interested in doing lots of workshops and community consultations, what to do creative workshops within that, so we're gathering ideas and getting people to do a little bit of painting at the same time, and we find that when people are being creative with their hands, that quite often opens up a lot of thoughts, and that's how we generate ideas. So all of the murals that we've done in Stratford have been informed by workshops and the local people.
And also safer space making as well, and, you know, transforming a space that might be like a bit dirty or an alleyway that people are a bit afraid of walking down, and we found that transforming those kind of spaces really encourage footfall and brighten up, and people become proud, and they own those walls a bit more, so it's about ownership and pride of place as well.
And we're very keen on working with the neurodivergent people, yeah, we're a neurodivergent team, and getting local volunteers involved and upskilling also really important to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kristen.
I was just going to say that basically what Emma had said, this about the community has to be really involved. We have to know what the people of Evesham think about this idea. I personally, and I'm very sorry, I don't like that kind of thing. I like to see nice buildings and stuff, but that's my only personal preference. But I do believe that the town should have a say in what is put where and whatever.
I think your projects and everything would enhance the town if done in certain areas. And I visited Cheltenham, Stratford, etc., and it's all very good to me. The point I want to make was, when you do a project, are they done each one in a batch? Like, we're doing this wall and it's going to cost this much, and we're going to do that wall. Do you price it individually like that, or are you looking for a grant so that you can just go on ahead and get and do what you think? Because I think as a council, we need to control the costs in these austere times. You know, I'd just like to know how you go on with that, with your funding.
Yeah, I mean, for the first year of Paint Stratford, we kind of did come in with a budget in mind, but we ended up far exceeding that budget and getting a lot more funding than we actually expected, because the town was so supportive of it, and we worked backwards from there to figure out how many we could do. And then some of them were priced individually, but the council would then began to approach us with a wall and a budget, which we can then work backwards from. So both things.
And I would say very similar, like for Worcester, we might have, if we're doing the main event, we might have a budget, it's a pot that we will then allocate how many we can afford within that, and we roughly know a breakdown based on, again, variables, but based on the size of the wall and what we might need and where the artist is coming from, and then but it could also be somebody gets in touch and says, we have this community space, you know, can we do a project with you on that?
Yeah.
So it's really variable.
Well, we know
what the costs are.
We would know what the costs are
Yeah.
before you paint the wall.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, super.
Are there any more questions?
I think I'll just add a point if I can. If anybody has not had a look at the mural at Charity Brook Park, please go and have a look at it, because it's brilliant.
Very good.
Just wait till they repair it, because it's got a load of graffiti on there at the moment and the paint is flaking off.
My understanding is that that particular mural has a coating on it, and if it has graffiti on it, it can be power washed off, and maybe it is Laura that hasn't been done yet, but as I say, the coating on it can eliminate graffiti, and we will look into that for you.
Yeah, so you may have a system of damages being reported, so if that's something that goes to the town council, as it does in Stratford, if there is some graffiti people in the first instance report that to the town council, and then the agreement I have with them is that their contact email would go to touch up. It hasn't happened yet, but I don't think you've heard that was being repeated effectively.
Yeah, we generally are responsible for maintenance to some level, aren't we, as well, yeah, so I know how to generally fix the mural as well.
Unless there are any other urgent questions, I'd like to formally thank you for attending tonight. As I said before, any comments, observations, suggestions, if you'd like to contact through the town clerk, who will have the details from the group and pass on. And we wish you every success and look forward to working with you. Okay, thank you for coming. You're quite welcome to stay, or you may wish to go to the pub.
Thank you so much for having us.
Brilliant presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, I'll move on to agenda item 4, an apology from Councillor Emily Shigaki in regards to the breach of the Code of Conduct. During this time, while Emma is speaking, there will be no interruptions, no gestures, and no adverse actions, facial expressions, or anything. This is a serious matter, and Emma is having the courage and the courtesy to address you as councillors. There will be no questions at the end, there will be no debate, because there will be a process after that. Emma, the floor is yours.
Thank you, John. Thank you for raising that point. Just a tiny bit of housekeeping before I come on, and it really is very tiny. When I just mentioned to these ladies that I was also neurodivergent, there was a councillor who immediately smirked. It's that sort of microaggression which is abhorrent and disgusting. If that does happen, I will stop speaking and I will leave the room. This is a very hard thing for me to do. The first thing I have to say is I wasn't aware of this until I went through the paperwork earlier. There is an item which has been attached by the clerk, which is actually a protected document. It is a redacted document, but the fact, my name has been redacted, but the fact that it has been publicly attached to this agenda is a very serious data breach. And as such, before I continue, I would like a reassurance from this council and from the mayor that that particular piece of documentation, which is now out of date and is a protected document, which is why it is redacted, is removed from the council website and not referred to in this meeting unless we go into closed session.
Which document is this?
Sorry, I can't cope the two people at once.
I'm speaking now, Emma.
Thank you.
Can you please identify exactly what you mean? Because
Yes.
anyway, I see that you talked around something. I would need to know exactly what you're referring to.
Yes, the clerk has added a document, both, sorry, this keeps turning itself off.
Go on.
Okay, sorry, the light keeps going off. I'm not being rude by not making eye contact, I'm just trying to do it through the chair. On the accompanying documents, which we have all been emailed, the very last document, Andrew has got one there, it's a letter from the Ombudsman to Wychhaven. It's not to the Town Council. I'm assuming that the Town Council was given a copy by Wychhaven, but it was given in redacted form with my name crossed out. I've read the document. Now, the reason why it's done that is to protect the names in there. And by putting that now into the public domain, I have spoken to my legal advisors this afternoon, and they have said it is a serious data breach, so it also needs to be reported to the ICO. I want to move on with this apology, but that document had no right to be circulated. It is a redacted document. Now, if it had been circulated in isolation, would be one matter, but it has been attached specifically to item 4, which names me. Okay? And whilst we're on that, just say I have. Is this still on? Can you still hear it?
Try it again. That's fine. You're right.
I have sent evidence to the Mayor today. Hopefully he has seen it on his emails. The information in that is out of date and incorrect. So I would like to explain very briefly what happened. There were 2 government ombudsman complaints. And when this was passed over, Wychavon were requested to send documents which they didn't. And the documents which I had sent were not attached to the complaint. My copy of that letter gives me a right to appeal within 28 days, which would have taken us to the 16th of November, 14th of November. I did appeal immediately, and today I have sent a copy of my phone record of an incoming call, which is just completely coincidental, from the Ombudsman with the number, which can be checked, because the case is open and live. I also gave him the reference number, so that can be cross-referenced. I apologise if you have not been updated by the monitoring officer, but that is the current state of play. I did not lie in the last meeting. There is an open investigation by the local government ombudsman into the processes which were adopted, and there are many of them. So that document that you have been supplied unnecessarily, totally unnecessarily in my opinion, it's got nothing to do with my apology. I just want to make that quite clear, and I would be appreciative if the Mayor can confirm that you did see those photographs that I sent of the phone. I'm quite happy for anybody here who disbelieves to have a look at my phone to see an incoming call this morning from the local government ombudsman.
In response to that, one, thank you for those comments. Please, no more comments about that. We now come on to the main point. I've been very, very busy today. It may well be that I've not seen your latest, but I can promise you that I will look at them, I will see them. If I can't find them, because IT is great when it works, when it doesn't, sometimes things don't come through. If I can't find anything, I will respond to you saying that I've looked, I can't find, please resend. All right, and if you're happy with that, I'll now ask you to continue with agenda item 4.
Okay. The other thing is, there's various people sort of chatting amongst themselves. Because of my neurodivergence, I just can't cope with peripheral noise.
Okay, can I just repeat what I said? There will be no interruptions, no interjections, no discussion between yourselves. I am aware of the situation, and I want Emma to have the freedom to be able to make the statement or the apology that she has prepared and is going to make in conjunction with the requirements of this council or through the motion resolution from the 30th of June, I believe it was. Yes. Emma.
Thank you, John. I was anticipating standing up to do this out of respect, but I'm then aware that Andrew may not be able to hear me. So I thought I would stand up. If you can hear me, I'll carry on, and if you can't, I'll sit down. Are you happy with that?
I'm aware of your disablement, and I'm more than happy for you to remain seated.
I have no physical disablement at the now. My back is healed. I don't use my scooter. I've made that quite clear. I have no physical disablement at the moment. But
please feel free to sit.
Okay. Thank you. So this will be under 3 minutes, which is the time which I think is pretty standard for people to make any comment. So before I proceed with my apology, I make this short statement which has been prepared. In the summer of this year, a report was published by the legal department of Wychavon. The contents of that report and the processes and publication involved is now subject to legal action. However, it should be noted that I refute much of the content. Additionally, the recommendation to attend a course on domestic abuse is libellous by implication. I put on public record that I have never been subjected to or involved in committing any such acts. The inference of the report is the opposite. There were several other recommendations that the council chose to adapt and make more severe. At the meeting streamed live in the summer, a vote was taken on a proposal by the mayor which stated, quote, "as read by me." There was never any vote for an apology to be written on my behalf. Such an action is meaningless. Additionally, I will not read things with which I do not agree. To be clear, the comments made by Mark Googe and later Andrew Dyke were merely noted by the mayor. Since the second week...
Emma, I'm going to have to interrupt you. I don't want personalities brought into this. The agenda item is your apology for the breach of the code of conduct. I'd like to address that, not background. If you want to discuss background, then please submit that to the town clerk, and that will then be. All right, the motion is your apology for a breach of code of conduct, and I would refer you to the town council meeting of the 30th of June. The council resolved the following, and it comes under item 1.
They did not resolve that. There is a recording which shows that that was not resolved.
That is the report that was given. Please, I said no interruptions, and you can make your point later on if you wish.
Well, please continue. So I won't read anything at all.
Please continue with your apology.
Right. Well, it is embedded within this, and if I am interrupted, even by yourself, Mr. Mayor, I will not continue. I was assured that I would be allowed to do this, and it's being prevented. So I will try one more time, because I've almost got to the part. I told you the whole thing was under 3 minutes. You either let me continue or you don't.
I'm more than happy to continue. The matter is that you are making an apology for your breach of conduct, and I don't wish for other people's names to be brought into the matter.
They were not brought in a negative fashion. In fact, Councillor Dyke said, I think that Emma should be allowed to write her own apology. Do you take any exception to my comment, Councillor Dyke?
I remember that, yes.
Thank you very much.
I did say that, yeah.
Please continue.
Since the second meeting of this council in 2023, I have been marginalised, ostracised and bullied. My disability has been mocked and gaslighted. I have had to prove my diagnosis in writing, show evidence of assistance dogs' validity. Adjustments requested, support and understanding have all been denied. As recently as Wednesday of last week, I was told that I may not help at bonfire night. I am not the only neurodivergent councillor in this room. There are 4 others declared, and I suspect 2 others in addition. Despite offers to engage with councillors to explain my needs and adjustments, this has been denied. I have been laughed at, mocked and ridiculed. I ask you to seriously consider a question. If I had Tourette's, would you humiliate me for swearing out loud? For any allistic person to suggest they understand the difficulties of neurodivergence because they have a son, daughter, friend, colleague is ableist and patronising. To suggest or decide how we can be helped rather than actioning our request for adjustment is patronising and inappropriate. One such example, and this has been cleared with the person before you interject, is providing John with a plastic laminate. Another was telling me the ground was too slippy for me to help on bonfire night. This brings me to my apology. Regardless of my mental state and frustrations, I acknowledge that video referred to in the Code of Conduct caused extreme hurt and upset to Helena Stevenson, and for this I apologise unreservedly. I also offer genuine and heartfelt apologies to Sharon Hemming and to John Campbell-Muir, councillors at the end. I was trying to highlight, through analogy, how online bullying can push vulnerable people to dark places. I should have had the foresight to realise that this post may have been shared. It was from a private group. It was never my intention to suggest that the gentleman concerned had killed himself due to John. I do not believe this to be true. However, as this is how it was interpreted, I can only repeat my sincere, deep and unreserved apology. I truly hope that they can accept this public apology as a closure to this issue. With regards to the complaint from Iconic Butine. This was part of a long video highlighting dirt and neglect in the town. I was attempting to show that not all dirt and detritus could be attributed to the council, and that businesses should take care of their own doorways. It was never my intention to imply that their business or any other businesses operating inside, specifically Artisan at Iconic, that were dirty inside. I accept that they felt targeted by me, and for this I apologise to the owners and staff. As a token of my sincerity, I would like to offer these gifts in public to Sharon and John, if they're happy to receive them. Are you happy for that?
That's a matter between yourself and the...
Well, I'd like to do it publicly. I've been asked to do a public apology, and I've got lots of councillors here nodding their head. Perhaps they should vote on it. They're only just behind me. I only need to pass them to them.
No, that is entirely up to you. It's not a council decision. I appreciate what you're offering. It's entirely up to the two councillors whether or not they want to accept it. It doesn't need acceptance by the council. It's a generous offer, and I sincerely thank you for it, but it is a matter between yourself and the two councillors.
Well, why was my apology not a matter just between myself and the councillors then? If you've made me do that publicly, why can't I offer the gifts publicly?
Because it's about an apology. It's not about gift giving.
We're quite happy for her to do it.
In that case, carry on.
Thank you. They're only just behind me. Thank you for that, John. Firstly, I hope that you will accept these in the manner that they are offered. Some flowers. Please take them if you accept them in that manner. There is something else for you. Feel free to show it to the room if you wish. Here is a handmade item of clothing which I've made for you myself. Again, I hope that you like it. If you don't, charity it or eBay it, whatever you want. For John, I have something very special, which is a single malt Dalmore.
Thank you very much.
The other thing that I have for John, I was absolutely disgusted to read item 14 on the agenda. I give John 2 reams of yellow paper, which is a reasonable adjustment that he asked for. And it's 1,000 pieces of paper there. I can see some smirks around the room. That doesn't surprise me. Hopefully they will get picked up. I pass those to the clerk. For any disabled person to have an agenda item for what is a reasonable adjustment, I find absolutely abysmal. John, I will keep you supplied with yellow paper for as long as you are a councillor. Would the clerk please let me know if you run low?
Thank you for that. Have you concluded your apology?
I have, yes.
Okay, thank you for your words. I'd be grateful for you to forward them to the town clerk, because they now have to be circulated to the 3 complainants for their comments about it, because the complaints were made by them, and it's to them that you are making an apology. They have to acknowledge and make comments about them, and I'm asking you to submit that to the town clerk. And once I've received the comments back from them, it will come back to council for discussion and for any proposals, etc. And that is now the end of that item.
How long does the council want this to go on for?
It's not a matter of how long it goes on for. It's already gone on for 6 months.
And I do apologise for having been so unwell that I was not able to come. I think that's really not a very kind thing. And in any case, it's not 6 months. You didn't have the meeting about this till August, and we are now November. So it's not 6 months. I will not be circulating any of my information putting into the public domain. That is not part of the recommendation. I have made a public apology, which is being live streamed and it is available. I have no control over whether people choose to accept my apology or not. I have made it, and to be quite honest, what are you going to do if they don't accept it? It's a pointless exercise.
I thank you for your words, and I've asked you what I've been asking you to do from now on. So that is the end of item 4. I move on now to item 5, my announcements. I'll start with my civic engagements.
Councillor with a hand up down here.
The Mayoress and I have attended 12 events since the last meeting. And I'd like to just, I don't always want to go through all of them, otherwise we'd be here all night. But I do have to make special reference to the Festival of Brass and to the retiring chairman, Val Trim, who has undertaken the organisation of that. It's an incredible competition. It involves bands from all over the country. And if you haven't been, I would recommend it, whether you like or don't like matters of brass. I come now to the recent bonfire, and that was incredibly supported. The estimate was between 2,500 and 3,000 people, and I wish to put it on record my personal thanks and those of my colleagues, that the staff of the council did a phenomenal job under huge pressure and circumstances, and across the whole of the staff they did an incredible job. At the same time, having to work the organisation and everything for the remembrance service that was held yesterday, both at the War Memorial and in church. And for both of those, I'd like to thank all of the people who volunteered at the bonfire to assist, and councillors who attended both the bonfire and the remembrance. And I've just been asked to say that next Sunday, the Royal British Legion have their own remembrance at Bengeworth, and if you would like to take part, I believe it's 10:30 from the Coronation Street Community Centre. Could I also please remind you, from a personal perspective, of the quiz night on the 21st at the Hampton Social Club. Mark has kindly offered again to be the quiz master. He's brilliant at it, and it doesn't have to be embarrassed. It is the 21st, and there will be a buffet and a raffle, and there's also a name the panda or name the animal competition, depending on how it is. All funds raised are going to my mayor's charities, and if you'd like to pass the word to friends and colleagues, you'll all be welcome. At this moment in time, that is all that I would like to announce. So item 5 finished. I now move on to item 6 and hand over to Steve Knight, who will talk to you about the place projects that he is engaged with. Okay, Matt.
So I spoke to a resident who was helping organise the Brass Band Festival, and he was disappointed in the turnout. The details of this festival were not circulated to councillors as far as I'm aware. If in future, can you please send out details of these? Because A, I probably would have liked to have gone, because that's part of what I've done in the past. And B, we can all help promote this and try and get some more people out there. They were quite cross about it.
Right, I hope you don't take this as what you might call a weak response. The council are not engaged with the organisation of it. That is the committee of the Festival of Brass. But knowing the individuals involved, I will make sure that your comments are passed on for the future.
Thank you very much. Good evening all. My name is Steve Knight. I work in the Economic Development team at Wiltshire District Council, and I have a great pleasure to present our 16th annual report to Evesham Town Council. And in that time, our joint ambition to improve the viability and vibrancy of Evesham has remained consistent. 2025 has continued to see some great success stories delivered by a range of partners, including the Town Council, the District Council, the Evesham Place Board, and many others. With Wychavon District Council allocating funding to support projects in the town, and the Town Council matching this with a contribution of £15,000, it is used as an enabling resource to lever additional resources. Over the last year, support has focused on 3 specific project themes, which is usual, attracting inward investment, business support grants, and local distinctiveness. In greater details of all of this can be found in the report that's been circulated. The combined Town Council and District Council contributions, together with the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, provided a substantial operating budget for 25-26, I should say. And the substantive part of this is the business grant funds that are available. Some of these schemes are mentioned within the report, and all information on available schemes can be found on the Wychavon business pages. As members will be aware, the Evesham Place Board have continued their excellent work and efforts since the inception back in 2022. It's been extremely pleasing to see the collaborative work being involved with a range of stakeholders, including some of the town councillors in the room tonight. These individuals, in addition to many others who volunteer their time in helping Evesham through the projects that are developed, must be applauded, so I'd like to thank everyone involved. The Place Board's focus for the past 3 years is understandably focused on the spending of the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, and that current programme is due to end in March 2026. As it stands, there are no extensions to this programme, nor any replacement funding from central government. I'd like to briefly touch on some of the highlights from this last year. In regards to business and skills, all of the Evesham High Schools attended a number of events where we helped provide funding to assist with the transportation. Whilst Careers Worcestershire has supported a number of people across Wychavon to gain employment, including residents of Evesham. The UK Shared Prosperity Fund has allowed us to support a number of flexible grant programmes, giving Evesham businesses the opportunity to assist with their development. And alongside these programmes, Wychavon has continued to maintain delivery of the Wychavon Growth Grant, and 9 businesses in Evesham or its environs have received the grant in 2025 so far. When it comes to local distinctiveness, the events and festivals are yet again thriving and really helps put Evesham on the map within this sector. And I make no apology for repeatedly saying that I really do believe the town punches well above its weight with the amount and variety of events that it hosts. And the funding the Town Council has provided goes a long way to support this. The collaborative working has been demonstrated hugely over the last 12 months, I feel, to further strengthen the local distinctiveness. The Place Board's projects have certainly contributed to this, as outlined in the report, with the asparagus window artwork and the award-winning Nutcracker Trail being 2 great examples of this. The latter having recently been given additional exposure at an award ceremony in London, where it came second in the Best Christmas campaign at the Setler Awards. The efforts all stakeholders are contributing are really making a huge difference, and this can be evidenced through the fantastic statistics the Visit Evesham platform has been achieving, where recently it's been outperforming much larger entities, including Visit Worcestershire. And this is only possible by having such engaging content, and that's achieved by having people who are extremely passionate about the town. So it is in this context I respectfully request the Evesham Town Council contributes to funding the continuation of this economic development work in 2026-2027 as follows. £3,000 for attracting investment, £3,000 for business grants and skills support, and £9,000 for local distinctiveness support to include marketing, festival and events, for a total contribution of £15,000. On behalf of Wychavon District Council, I'll be most grateful if Evesham Town Council would kindly consider this request to continue the long-standing relationship we have, of which we have great pride. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to respond to any questions you may have.
What you're including, does it properly include the shop improvement fronts? Does it include the shop improvement fronts?
Not what I'm seeking today, no. That has been funded through the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, which has gone through to the Place Board. So that scheme will run up until March 2026. Now this is separate to that.
Can I ask you then, is there any plan to Port Street?
In this current window, there isn't, because the
What about the next? Because we've been waiting for quite some time now with Port Street. You know, the town has copped the funding twice. Port Street's been left alone. It's about time that we recognise that there are areas of this town that need attention as well as town centre.
Yeah, as I mentioned, the UK Shared Prosperity Fund finishes in March 2026.
Yeah.
As things stands, we're not aware of any extension to that or any replacement programme.
Right.
So that was initially a £4 million programme. As things stand, we obviously don't have the budget to be able to replicate what we have done over the last 4 years of that.
And I wouldn't presume there'll be anything done until devolution comes in anyway, then after that.
Something may come up in the upcoming budget announcement, but as things stand, yeah, we can.
Thank you, Francis.
Thanks for that, Steve. I was wondering about the skills boost and apprenticeship programme. You said since April 25, the programme has supported 239 people across Wychhaven. I'm not expecting this now this minute, but could you possibly send a breakdown of how many have been helped in Evesham, please?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks.
I must congratulate Wychhaven on actually going to do something about the Fish Refuge Bridge, which I heard the other day, but it's public today. I would implore them to continue that along all the way to the ferry so you can have a circular, easily accessed route for those with disability and cycling. It's about promoting tourism. And also, I hate to think what it's going to be like when we have a really wet Battle of Evesham there with all the horses. And of course, I have to mention with the Evesham cycling and walking plan that it doesn't include the route to the valley. And I implore you and all councillors, district councillors, to at least try and do something about it.
I can comment on that I know action is being currently undertaken. I think a walk fairly recently with some senior officers and members revisiting that project to see what can be done connecting the valley to the town.
Please talk to the Charles Greenway Committee. They're getting in despair.
Thank you. I'm looking at the table here with the year-on-year figures. Starts off very well with it being a lot of green, but there seems to be some red that's appeared. So is what we are doing wrong? And I think with the last column being
Percentage different to COVID year 20 and having the 108, 111, 145. I think that's misleading because you should probably take it from a like-for-like year, not 2020 that was particularly bad.
Is this in relation to the football figures?
Yeah.
Is that yeah. Well, in terms of the red, I mean, it probably doesn't necessarily give much comfort, but it's a similar trends with the other two towns as well. So the football software that we've got covers Evesham, Droitwich, Spa, Hersham and Broadway as well. And disappointingly, that has been a trend that I've seen across the other towns as well. So I don't think it's isolating anything that's just happening in Evesham. But admittedly, it's frustrating to see.
could it sort of invoke a change of direction, maybe? If they're falling.
As in, I suppose what you said, suggesting a downwards trend, that could be...
Yeah, could we...
If what we're doing, with all that we're doing, and a lot of us think it is good, but if those numbers are still red, then is what we're doing wrong?
Sorry, I see what you mean, yeah. I'm sure people could potentially take that from that information. I think they're... Of course, I would say this because the results aren't necessarily the best ones on there. I think there are question marks over the statistics with that particular software platform. My fear is that a lot of it also captures car traffic because of the proximity to the streets with the roads, which is something I have raised with the provider of it. You could turn that as a counter to say that that means less traffic coming through the town, but I think that'd be a bit of a difficult one for me to clutch up there. So yeah, I fully accept that it could look like that. I generally believe with everything that's going on, and when looking at the optics that we have achieved and with some of the visitor footfall at events as well, I don't look at those completely as being the gospel in terms of the direction we're going. It's a useful, in theory, it should be a useful tool to be able to help see the direction of it. And I hope that we do end up turning that corner, because I would strongly say that I think everything that is taking place is the right thing. But I could completely acknowledge that those facts are there.
Okay, happy with that?
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, along the same lines, really.
No, in order, please. Emma had a hand up.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Do you want to go first?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I'm leaning in like this because just I'm aware. Can you hear Andrew? Yeah. I know that this aspect is something which a number of councillors here feel quite passionate about, particularly Andrew, and actually not, well, District Councillor Craig there. Obviously, this is not directed at yourself specifically, please, and my tone can be misinterpreted. Yes, there is a trend across the whole country of lower footfall, which is down to something which we can never address, which is internet shopping, and we're all assumed guilty of that. And I am actually very pro. I am actually very pro the reuse of some commercial buildings into residential. However, the biggest thing that I hear and is said to me on a daily basis about Evesham, and I know it's not specific to Evesham, is the general dirt and detritus of the town. It is not enticing, and that is a Wychavon issue. I appreciate that people drop cigarette ends, but the people don't plant weeds. And I appreciate that this has been outsourced to FCC. I think it's a damning indictment that this council has got to look into the purchase of our own cleaning equipment, because Wychavon or their legal services are not holding FCC to account for not doing for what they have been paid for some things or are due to be paid. If we have a clean, tidy town, people are more likely to keep it clean and tidy. If it is dirty and disgusting, people don't think twice about adding that little bit of dirt. And as we're in a town council meeting and it's being streamed, I just want the public to be aware there are town councillors who are aware of this and who are passionate. And Councillor Kimberley as well is also something he's very passionate about. I think Councillor Clatworthy. It is just not good enough. And I would ask us, as we've got a representative of Wychavon here, as a town council, which is what the public want to see, that we are not satisfied with the things, they haven't got the money. Well, they have got the money. We've given them the money for it. They quoted for it. The leaf situation is dangerous. There are places where if you are on a scooter or a wheelchair, you cannot see the demarcation between the curb and the pavement, particularly around Church Street areas of Bengeworth. It is not good enough, and I just ask that they realise you can't. One of the biggest things that people say is that it is just not pleasant at all. Only if the council agree that they're in agreement with what I'm saying. I mean, they may feel that it's all hunky-dory.
Okay, I've now got 5 people wishing to speak, so it's in this order. Robert, followed by Andrew, followed by Mark, followed by Bill, followed by Julie. Okay, so start at the beginning, Robert.
The counter measurement is purely on the traffic measurement, is it, through the town? How is the stats actually collected? Because that's really quite important, and how it might change from year to year.
So the particular software we've got at the moment is done via tracking particular apps on mobile phones. So not everyone will necessarily be obviously caught with that. And just to add some reassurance, it never knows whose individual phone, it just knows a phone, thus a number. The way it's done is effectively drawing a section on a map to say this is the area we want to capture. And when I referenced earlier about the proximity to roads, because obviously some roads are very narrow and it's done through GPS, I fear that there is a bit of crossover at times where the software is trying to pick up a mobile phone. We would like to be picking up a mobile phone as somebody that's walking down the high street, whereas what it might be doing is picking up a mobile phone that's in a car or someone along the street instead. So that's where we've always considered some of the roads that aren't, some of the streets that aren't next to roads are probably more accurate than the ones that are there. It's obviously just a flaw of the software in the sense that that's just the problem we've got with it. It is just one company, and I am keen to explore others. The reason why we stuck with the same one is for a lot of the reporting measures for the UK Shared Prosperity Fund. We had to have a baseline and then obviously subsequent impacts on that. But interestingly, when the Nutcracker trail campaign was run last year, obviously in conjunction with the Valley, they have access to different software, and that was reporting percentage increases during the period of that. I think 4% in Vine Street and 2% in High Street. So it's something we can consider, because I'm really keen to see that information, particularly times of day, different days in the week. But at the moment, there's definitely a flaw. But speaking with other colleagues at different councils, it's not something just unique to this software. I think it's almost trying to ask for the impossible to some degree.
It's inevitable, isn't it, that sort of stuff. So we can take it with, it's a very general indication, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'd like to try to think that at least you can use the trends to see, if not the complete sort of accurate data, but I appreciate that, yeah.
And as for street cleaning, I agree. Streets the last couple of years seem to have gone in a much more dreadful state. I put it partly down. We've seen staff, was it last week, pulling out the weeds in the cracks on Bridge Street by hand.
Robert, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. We've already had a comment made about the Stoke. We are short of time. Your comment has already been asked, and you're endorsing it. I'd like to move on, please.
I'd like to just finish. I see it as a problem of not using the right kit and the right approach. To do it by hand this day and age is not right, especially we're going to actually loosen all those paving stones, and they're not refilled with the sand in between, so they're going to become unstable.
As I drove down here tonight, areas of Evesham are actually being street cleaned with machines.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd like to move on, please, Andrew.
Yeah, I won't go down that road because I think Julie might be saying something in a moment about it. I just wanted to concentrate on what we're actually talking about, and I think I say this every year, and I think I might well have been saying it from the first year, 16 years ago. But a great report. It's got just about everything in it, what you do, and what you do with £15,000 is quite remarkable.
Agreed.
So I would like to propose that we accept this on behalf of Evesham Town Council. Thank you, and will you please pass back on all the thank yous from us for what you do. Thank you.
And I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a proposal from Councillor Andrew Dyke, seconded by Councillor John Campbell-Muir, that this council agree to funding whichever district council to the sum of £15,000. Those in favour? Is anybody against? Are there any abstentions? Congratulations, Steve, you got 15 grand.
Thank
I'll
you.
do the one after yourself.
Well done.
Okay, Mark.
Well, what I was partly going to say is a little redundant, really, since Andrew said what I was going to say. But I did just want to come back, since I got the floor, for a brief moment about the footfall issue. It is worth bearing in mind that Evesham's footfall will be affected by the Riverside Centre. Shops are disappearing out of the Riverside Centre. The car parking is increasingly unpopular because of the way that it's being administered, and that is keeping people out of the town centre. There's nothing we can do about that in the short term, although, as you will have seen from the report, Wychavon has long-term plans for that. It's one of the things we have to put up with for now, but there is a solution on the horizon. And in the long term, when the Riverside Centre is sorted out, we can expect, I think, to see footfall returning back in an upward direction.
Yeah, I think you covered a few of the points. Said about that calculation of figures, but does that include like all the shopping areas out of town as well? You know, like by Morrison's, etc. It doesn't. It's just the town centre, is it?
Just the town centre.
But you were saying it covers Twyford.
No, sorry. So the footfall counter software that we've got covers the town centre, so as far north as the railway station, across the river. The bit I mentioned about Valley is that they have separate software that obviously they use for their research period and purposes.
So
they use that for the Nutcracker
because they were reporting, from what I read, or what I understood, they were reporting higher figures than they were doing so well. Are we losing some people to there? Because it's a little bit uncomplimentary with me. So I just wanted to make that comment. I don't expect you to be able to answer that.
The figures I would have included in the report would have been an increase in the town centre, because it's as part of the Nutcracker campaign, when that was on last year.
Yeah, well, they do the Nutcracker.
It was a joint project that Wychavon did, well, the Place Board did alongside the Valley.
Yeah.
So they had some of the Nutcrackers up at there, and the vast majority were in the town centre. So as part of the overall campaign review, the Valley used the access to the software they've got and informed us that there was a percentage increase in footfall in the town
my question.
during that period.
And I'll reiterate what Andy said. Very good report, super.
To be perfectly honest, this isn't really anything for you, Steve. It's just to, in response to what Emma was saying about the general look of the town. I can't think of any councillor in this room that doesn't think that the town looks grotty. But the Wychavon councillors have been doing quite a lot of work with the head of client services to try and get things moving for the town. And things are happening. So please bear with us while we keep going.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay, are there any other questions for Steve? Marion?
First of all, Steve, thank you for your report. Now, in your report, you make reference to Evesham Place Board. Now, recently, they've had some events, and I don't believe that all councillors were invited to those events. And considering that each and every member of this council has been elected by the public, I think it would be nice and that these we all, would, as representatives of each ward, should be invited to forthcoming events that are being organised by Evesham Place Board. Let's just say it was observed that that wasn't the case necessarily in the last couple of events that have been noted in this report. But thank you very much for drawing it to our attention. Thank you. Bye.
Which events in particular are you referring to? Was it the tourism events?
Well, there are a couple in your report. I think you made reference to. Wasn't there something? There was an event at Wood Norton, and also there was a Polish event. But I think you would like Evesham Town Council to support you. So if we're included, all of us from each ward, well, we can give the support that you're kind of looking for, I think. I'll be happy to anyway. Have the opportunity to. Thank you.
Are there any other further questions for Steve? I don't want to be cutting people short. If you've got questions to ask, obviously it's the time to ask. And Steve's given his time tonight to be here. I would remind you, we've only got 1 hour left and we're not halfway through the agenda yet. So please can we just move things along. Are there any other further questions for Steve? I don't see any, so Steve, thank you very much for coming tonight. If you wish to stay for the remainder, you can. Or if you want to go and have a break, by all means do so. Thank you, we'll see you soon.
I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay, I move on now to item 7, updates from district and county councillors. I do apologise both to Emma and Sam. For some reason, it's always something going down the agenda. I always seem to miss asking you in advance. So Emma has already said that she's happy to fill in the district. Sam, I appreciate it's short notice. If you have things to comment about county council, or if there isn't anything, as I say, I apologise for leaving it out. It won't happen again. Emma.
Yes, thank you, Council. A few things actually happening at this precise moment in time at District. And the first thing is one of our own, Martin Cross, who is our flood engineer at Wychavon, is from Evesham, and he has actually now achieved 40 years at Wychavon. So congratulations to one of our own. The other thing is a local democracy day, and that's where the schools attend Wychavon and they go through the process, and quite rightly mentioned earlier on in one of the prayers, that the democracy is an important issue and democracy is learned and it is actually explained through the schools and they're taught at school now. So they are then brought forward, these schools, for a competition, and they are then on a panel of which I've managed to get, I'm trying to think of the right word, but I basically pushed myself in to ensure that there's somebody from Evesham on this panel, because I'm particularly annoyed that Pershore keep winning. So I'm looking to sort of try and cheat profusely and get Evesham to win, because I do think that Evesham, with a link to Thingy, I can't remember his name, but that's the one, okay, we ought to win something. So we're pushing for that. The other thing is a little bit more serious, and you'll be quite surprised, well, you would certainly will, Sam. I'm actually sort of supporting Councillor Boatwright Green at Wychavon regarding safety for Evesham residents using the X50 bus, okay? There is a bus that runs from Evesham College to Pershore College, brilliant, that transports the students. That's absolutely excellent. However, but there are students that arrive during the day that come from Evesham and get dropped off on the A46, 200 yards away from the college entrance, okay? Now, Sam and I both know that it's something as simple as moving the bus stop is never that simple. However, there is a dangerous situation, especially in the winter, with your residents going to Pershore College and getting dropped off 200 yards and having to walk on a no path, on a verge. You can see the desire line. And I'm looking for this council's support to support Councillor Boatwright in his position and try, as local member, to try and get a path or a bus stop moved. And I think it's something that this council could do purely to cross-party and the fact that it's safety of our own students. So that's really where my report ends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just very quick question. You say A46. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions for Emma? Stan, did you have your hand up? Mark.
It's not the A anything, it's the B4046. The former A44. But anyway, anyway, yes, all I can say is I fully support that. My younger daughter, depending on what she does at the end of this year, whether she goes to sixth form or not, may well end up at Pershore College, and if so, she will be taking the bus, and I would very much like her to be able to get off the bus and walk safely from the bus stop to the college, or even get off the bus at the college instead of 200 yards down the road. So yes, I fully support that particular scheme.
I'd say the identification of the road is semantics, but it is important. The most important thing is the safety of people on and off the bus, and they're walking.
Write a letter and circulate it to all members, and if they're in agreement, I can send it on to Councillor Boatwright Green, if you wish, or do you wish it to go through the clerk?
No, I think that would be a good idea, and obviously that's an open invitation to councillors to respond to that. If you'd like to do that, Emma, thank you very much indeed.
I just want to make a comment. The young people travelling to Pershore College that were situated in Evesham, and they assured, oh, it would be a bus service and they wouldn't put them out. Well, it's not a bus service to the door. They can get to...
There is.
Yes, and those children should be dropped off in the car park at the college. The bus could go in, turn around and drop the children off without any danger, and there's no problem with that. And that's the college people from there making everybody go because they want to save money.
Bus route from door to door. The X50 is the public bus route, which happens to be a bloody excellent service, and it's an excellent way to get to Pershore or to Worcester and back again, but it passes the college. So if your student doesn't go on the required or provided transport, it will then be allowed to use the X50, which is the public transport. So the public transport...
So there is a proper bus that drops them in the car park?
There is their own transport provided, but if you wish to use the X50,
okay,
there is no...
Yes,
their choice, yeah.
Sam, I know it's a curveball. Do you wish to say anything about County Council?
Well, not so much a curveball because I read the agenda, so I was prepared.
At least someone reads it. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, at full council last week, we did have a bit of a debate on cost-saving measures, which unfortunately were voted against. That was a bit of a shame. However, there are a couple of positives. We talking of buses. Veterans will be given free bus travel in Worcestershire. Yeah, I think that was voted for unanimously, and something that we do all support here as well, obviously, by the sounds of it. We will be increasing promotion and awareness of vaccines. However, I did make the point not to cross over into the fear territory like we did with COVID. And if you need any help with your bus thing, let me know.
Thank you. Sam?
Sorry, me again. I know we've got a journalist here, so she might be interested in this particular thing. It's kind of a question for you, Sam. Pershore College, obviously I appreciate it's part of the Warwickshire College Group or some private entity, but it's also partly funded by the County Council in that the tuition fees for children, certainly up to the age of 18, are the responsibility of the education service. So one of the things that I've been requested to bring up in a formal capacity, and actually it's quite personal to me as well, and I would ask that this be taken to the County Council. We're all well aware of this build, but for that we need trades. we have a plumbing and heating company, as you will be aware. We cannot take on an apprentice. We wanted to. The nearest place to Evesham is Gloucester or Leamington Spa to do a plumbing apprenticeship. Not Worcester, not Cheltenham. Neither of those places are accessible, bearing in mind at 16 they're not going to be driving or anything, are accessible by public transport in time to attend any college. Plumbers have a very short life. It's not just plumbing, it's electricians. Another one which will be happening eventually, motor mechanics. I appreciate that we've got electric vehicles coming in. Carpentry, I believe you can still do at Worcester. I may be wrong there. This is something which needs to be brought up at a county council level for them to tell them that they must offer trade apprenticeships. We had them at Evesham, not at Pershaw. Now, you can do level 1 to plumbing. That doesn't give you a qualification to go out and, work. It needs to be a proper apprenticeship course. We knew it was going to happen. They promised transport. It's being cut. The Binny bus, Julie's just said to me that the funding is going to be stopped. So the door-to-door minibus, they are stopping. The X50 bus, great, that's brilliant. But it looks like the funding for that is going to be stopped as well by the County Council. Can you please ensure that in the event that it is stopped, that the County Council promises to provide free transport to Pershaw College, bearing in mind it's not the fault of people like potentially Mark Googe's daughter that they chose to shut Evesham College.
I obviously can't commit to anything now, but I will speak with Alan Amos in the cabinet about those, and I think we should be doing all we can to try and promote students learning trades.
Andrew.
Working anyway. Thank you, Chairman. What is happening with the bridge?
I and the other county councillor, Michelle Hume, are dedicated.
Money as we see it, and a lot of others, but it does look like it's going ahead.
Oh, good.
That does.
We're legally obliged to.
Good.
Super, I live in Hampton.
As well.
We'll just put a bridge everywhere we can think.
Sam, it might be a repository question, but on first, you talked about free travel, is it bus travel? Is it for veterans?
Mm-hmm.
Is that veterans in the military sense, or veterans as in older age people of society, or both?
Military.
Thank you. We're in it. John.
Hi, Sam. As Emma's touched on, and I have a serious concern for our students over the next coming years. I've found out that funding for the college bus is going to be basically reduced till next year. This really puts students coming from a poor family at a very, very bad situation of trying to get educated. I would ask you to try and push to make sure that these children, there is something put in place for children of a low-income families. Because we're starting to look at a two-tier education system here.
Yeah, I'll make a note. I do want to point out as well, I take notes on my phone. I'm not being rude if you think. Yeah, I'll make a note, John.
Just a comment from myself, Sam. Just a comment from myself. A short while ago, we had an invitation to go to Pershaw College, where we had a presentation about the movement from Evesham, etc., etc. We had a tour around and saw all the new workshops that they're building again, etc., etc. I looked on a website. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I'm sure I saw on there somewhere that into the future, a full-time student at Pershaw coming from Evesham, it's going to be an annual charge of £890. If you're not aware of it, please be aware of it. And can you talk to the relevant people to just clarify that, please? Because that is going to be a huge amount of money for students living in Evesham, having had their college taken away from them.
Just on that point, that's an excellent point. Thanks, John. That poses serious, if that's what's being proposed, serious legal problems, because in this country, all children are obliged to be in education or formal training up to the age of 18. The fact that they have taken away Evesham College, the nearest, and for many of them, staying at, for example, Prince Henry's isn't an option. They need to have the equivalent of 5 B grades in their GCSEs to be able to do A-levels at Prince Henry's. Actually, throwing them out is also unlawful because you can't throw a child on roll-out for poor performance, but Prince Henry's do what they like. But so, yes, that may have been heard, John, but I don't know where, if you could look into that as well, Sam, because the county council will be responsible for paying that £800 because the government is responsible for funding education up to the age of 18, or the year that they turn 18. So, thank you.
Okay, I appreciate they're all very relevant points, and Sam and Emma, I trust with the relevant councils will take matters on board. I am conscious of time, and I do need to move on. So unless there's any burning questions for either, can I move on, please, to the clerk's report?
Right. So the local walking and cycling plan has been issued. That's the one which you talked about at the last meeting. That's been issued already, and it's been circulated to everybody. Pre-parking at Christmas. After the discussion last month, Whithaven has said no to the additional days free parking, but they've extended the free parking on the 22nd, which was going to be after 12 o'clock, to all day. So we have one full day instead of 2 half days. Now, Armistice Day is on tomorrow, so there's a short service at the War Memorial. If anyone wants to go down there, starts, meeting up at 10:30 a.m. Everybody's welcome. Right, update on the Town Hall. It's fairly brief. PJK Investments have now paid some of the invoices sent to them. This was reported at planning, but now you all know, so that's good news. They've paid for some of the legal bills that we've had to pay, and the condition survey, and they've also paid for painting the hall's front door. We've sent them more bills, and we're going to await payment on these, and I'll keep you posted. Oh, no, it's that survey. It's bits and pieces. Right, bonfire went off very well. We had a good crowd and the weather was kind. And we'll notify everyone in due course how much money we made for the charities when we've counted it all. Remembrance, this also went very well. Last month we talked about getting a screen to put behind the War Memorial. We got costs of various companies, but the cheapest of these was £1,500, so that was slightly beyond us. We did have some first aid this year, which had been requested, but we didn't get a lot of support for the screen, unfortunately. We did improve the coverage of the audio, though, so the audio was pointed behind the War Memorial to the sides. We used the company used the Battle of Evesham system. So I'd like to think that most people were able to hear it if they couldn't actually see it. Almonry Restoration Project. Tender evaluation has been completed following the 6 tender submissions. And DA Cook has been confirmed as the preferred contractor, following an overall combined score of 76%. The company called Croft and Messenger ranked second and third, respectively. Letters have been issued to all tenderers notifying of decision. Tender evaluation report was presented at the project board meeting last week and was agreed with the Arts Council. Formal notification of this decision allows DA Cook to fully engage with the project team and will now be able to discuss alternative design options to provide a solution that complies with the budget constraints. So the next things we're going to do with the project is we're going to agree the final contract sum following the pricing exercise. We're going to update and prepare contract documentation. That will be in December. And starting work on site in January 26, with a 12-month period to complete the work. So it's going in the right direction. Now, another item I want to bring to your attention is energy prices. So coming soon to an energy bill near you will be the nuclear RAB levy, which comes in November this year. This is the Nuclear Regulated Asset Base levy. And it's a new charge which is going to be added to UK electricity bills, and it's to help fund the construction of new nuclear power stations, specifically Sizewell C in Suffolk. So energy suppliers contribute to the costs of building these new power stations, and they recover it through UK energy bills.
We're going to chip in to buy this bloody thing. Are we going to enjoy the profits afterwards?
The power station? Yeah. No. Well, you get to use the energy, which is good. So the levy is going to appear as a non-commodity cost on electricity bills from this month. And it's going to add a modest amount, they describe it as, to household and business energy costs. So everyone is going to get this added to their bills. Less than £1 a month, they think. But it depends on your energy usage. So if you spend more, if you use more electricity, you'll get a higher levy. So all consumers in the UK, households and businesses, will see this charge unless they're specifically exempted. And I know your next question is, who are the exemptions? Well, they are power-hungry industries like steel and concrete manufacturers. And that's because the government deemed them to be vulnerable to international competition, and they're the only organisations who are going to be exempt. Moving on to solar panels on public buildings, still on energy. Kroll Community Energy, supported by Wychavon District Council, is assessing the feasibility of installing rooftop solar panels on up to 50 public buildings across the district. Suitable sites are going to be identified based on energy use, roof condition and community benefit. And they're going to issue a report April next year. So following the study, Kroll Community Energy and Wychavon will list the preferred sites. That is the end of my report, unless anyone's got any questions.
Emma, you had your hand up first. Anybody else?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. It was in connection with the cost of the almonry. Did you say that the report will be coming to us and it is within the existing budget?
Yes, that is the idea. Yes, precisely. At the present time, the aim is to deliver the project within the budget. There was essentially the project as it was quoted on all the tenders was much bigger than the budget, yes.
What has been reduced? Quality, quantity?
Well, we'll report that in due course.
That must be changed considerably.
Yeah, the M&E prices were much bigger than expected. But discussions are underway, and we got a sort of a bit of a sneak preview on the sort of things that they're going to be talking about. The controllers were very expensive. The lighting, the cabling, for example, was mineral insulated, which is extremely expensive. So there's options in there. We know a little bit more about it now. So the value engineering obviously is in its pretty early stages because we've only literally just notified DA Cook. But I'm quite hopeful that, of a positive outcome, actually, having had those discussions.
Hi, yes, I'm just asking the clerk for an update on a matter. Going back quite a while to a meeting in May, a member of the public asked about the council's safeguarding policy. I'm not aware of any safeguarding policy that has been council approved or is available, and it is actually quite a crucial thing for us to have. Additionally, just to request if councillors are happy on the... Actually, I won't be here for the January meeting, I'm away, but so maybe February, because I would really like to be there, about a disability policy which specifically includes neurodivergence. 25% of the population are believed to be neurodivergent, and various things have shown... I'm not the only neurodivergent councillor. I'm aware of lots of eyes rolling now, but that won't be from the neurodivergent ones. In fact, the ones that I'm getting right now is it's really it's not very pleasant at all. And I know I've spoken with John about this. This is something which the council and the council staff really need to get a grip on. So I'd like that to be an agenda item in agreement with the rest of the council for Friday's meeting. Not February's meeting. Apologies.
So do you want them both on February's? Both?
No. The first thing I'm just asking you if that you have any updating, because obviously it's 6 months ago since the member of the public asked about safeguarding. I believe they've not. They said it was going to be sent to them. They chased me up, communicated, and said, "Look, I've still not received it." Is this because one needs to be written and approved by council? Because obviously any policy needs to go through council to be lawful. So I'm just asking if you've got an update on that and a disability policy, and in fact all policies which we are, statutorily really obliged to have.
We normally do them in the May meeting. I did send the policy. If it hasn't been received, and I'm happy to forward the same email with the policy attached.
Sorry, what I didn't say is it doesn't have a date on it. It needs to have a date on it of when it was approved by council, or it's not a. It's not actually a recognised document. So it can't just sort of be written, produced and sent to somebody. It has to be dated, signed, and when it was approved and when it went through council. Has that not happened, or is that something that we should maybe agenda? I don't need to be here for that, but is it maybe something that needs to be agendaed to be done, that any policies that we've got that have not been through council for their approval go through council for approval?
Okay. Did you say that it hasn't got a date on it?
That's my understanding, that the actual document doesn't have a signed date of when it was approved and went through council. Certainly, I don't ever I've been through as many minutes as I can, and I can't see anything within the last 6 years of when any policies of that nature were approved via full council. There's some terms of reference which have been approved for, like the Armoury working group and stuff like that, but it could be, obviously, that they exist, but they ought to be on the website, on the Town Council website. And the final thing is, on the Town Council website, we're missing a lot of finance reports. I don't know if it's back from February. There are no finance reports on the website.
Emma, without interrupting you, being courteous, the website information is agenda item 13. More than happy for you to raise points at that time.
So the document, the safeguarding policy has been received, but it's not dated.
That's the information that I have. I believe the lady concerned is in the room, so she may be able to ask you, if, with the Mayor's permission, she may be able to answer that directly.
Okay, well, that's fine. I can either put it on the next agenda, or it can wait till May. I mean, it's entirely up to the council.
I think it's a little bit more pressing than that. This is a legal obligation for us to have. It was raised by a member of the public last May, and there still isn't one on the Town Council website that has been approved by council, or many other documents. I mean, I'm aware that I think there's been something like a menopause policy, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have one, but I would have thought, menopause policy will affect, 50% of the population, obviously. But it seems to me that there are no, I don't want to say more important. There are other policies that we should have. We should have a safeguarding policy, which has been approved and gone through Town Council. So I would suggest, if it's enough time for them to be prepared, if they're not there, that, February or March or whatever is a more quiet month. I would assume that's for the Mayor and yourself to decide.
Okay, looking obviously at the time, and I'm taking on board exactly what you're saying. your observations are very relevant. If I could ask you to just identify where you think there are shortcomings, and if there are, and put those to the town clerk, and then her and I will discuss them, and we'll put them onto an appropriate agenda for you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Deputy Mayor.
It was just to do with the solar panels. There's been a lot of reports about the placing of solar panels on buildings, and a lot of householders have come unstuck because the unscrupulous solar panel companies have rented the roof space, the peppercorn rent, and then sold the electric back to the... You know, I don't want us to drop into, scrutinise these people. I want us to scrutinise them and make sure that we get a proper deal and we don't give away roof space on public buildings for the next 20 years and we're not going to be able to repair them because of solar panels stuck on them. Because that's how householders are. Some of the householders are like that.
Andrew. Are there
Just in relation to Councillor Kimberley's comment there about roof space, I think you would be aware, I mean, I'm not saying that some householders aren't, but I think as organisations...
Can't hear you.
Sorry. Louder. I think as an organisation for public buildings, any organisation would be aware of roof space being sort of sold, so that you don't get the benefit of the solar panels. You know, you don't get the what's feeding the SEG now. That where you sell it back to the grid. I understand that some individuals have fallen into that trap, but I don't think we would. I don't think councils.
I'm just trying to make her aware of that.
Yeah. I just wanted to lay that clear.
I've been looking at what the Dutch have been doing with solar panels, and they've been solar paneling their car parks. And they are making a lot of money. Because as you say, most towns around us are car parks. What it does is by actually putting these solar panels in, you're actually creating cooler, more happier environment for the people using the car park, because one, the cars are not overheating, and they're generating the electricity to charge the next electric cars coming into the town, which then, as tourists, come here because they see it as an advantage because they can charge their cars while shopping. Just my point.
Good point.
Any other questions to the town clerk? So we could move on, please. Okay. Reports from outside bodies. Now, I don't normally approach individuals because individuals know the organisations that they represent the council on. There are meetings here, there and everywhere. They're not on a regular basis and it's very difficult to keep up with it. So are there any councillors who represent the council on any of our outside bodies who would like to make a comment about that? And I'm not going to be rude to anybody. Please make it short.
Very short. I'd just like to thank the councillors that came with me last Saturday and helped paint the car park. And we've decided from that we are going to form a working committee. So any councillor that feels that they can spare a bit of time, our next project is on the 22nd of November, and we are painting the Almonry, where their new premises, we are painting the shop front. So if any council would like to join us, you're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any representatives from other organisations? Okay, I don't see anything. Thank you. I'll move on now to the minutes of the previous meeting. You've all had copies of it. I've been through it. I personally don't see any problems with it and will formally propose acceptance, but I will take questions. Andrew, oh, that was the second, was it? Okay, you have a comment. You're going to do a second. Okay, are there any comments about the minutes? Okay, so I have proposed it. Councillor Andy Dyke has seconded it. Those in favour? Anybody against? Are there any abstentions? Good, we're moving on nicely. We come now to committee minutes. And first of all is the Personnel Committee of the 6th of October. Mark.
Thank you. I'd like to propose the minutes of the Personnel Committee of the 6th of October for as a true and accurate record and for acceptance by the Council.
Okay, are there any questions, bearing in mind you can only ask questions about the minutes that you have seen? There was confidential and questions that you might think or not cannot be asked or answered.
I'm not sure if I can ask the question.
And first.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
What I've heard on rumour, there is actually a court case against this council at the moment, against a member of staff that was moved, and what I want to try and understand is why council haven't been informed that there's a court case against us.
If
I believe that proceedings have been issued.
No, it's not a court.
It's a tribunal.
It's a tribunal, yes.
And
It's on the minutes of the meeting.
but I'm just saying, you know, shouldn't this have been brought to full council's
No,
attention,
it's
not
really a
just
matter.
personnel?
Well, it's with personnel at the moment, yeah.
All right, just I wanted to clear up. I just
Yeah,
wanted
sure.
to understand. I thought it should have been brought to full council that we are being taken to court.
I stand to be corrected by Mark, the Chairman, but as far as I understand, if there is an agenda item that involves an individual by name, then it goes into confidential session and cannot be divulged. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's strictly true. I don't. You can
Well,
go-
just to clarify, anything relating to what is a special category of data under GDPR, which includes staff contracts and any other issues, is considered highly confidential and cannot be disclosed to anybody who does not have a specific need to know it. That includes, unfortunately, other councillors. There are some things that not even all councillors are in a position to know, because unless it will actually affect a decision you need to make, it's not within your need to know.
Thank you, Mark.
Much as I appreciate what Mr. Googe or Councillor Googe has just said, that's not strictly true, and I would ask him to provide to us the legal legislation for that. Yes, confidential session, but any decision, just hypothetically speaking, should there need to be a financial agreement in place, that will need to go through full council, which means that full council cannot possibly agree or deny something if they don't know what it's about. So much as I agree, yes, full confidential session, this should not exclude councillors or any councillor, because if the proceedings and employment tribunal proceedings are still court proceedings, it's just a tribunal court rather than a county council or whatever, that if the council are being taken to court, we are the council, all 24 councillors. It's not just 5 or 6 councillors, it is all councillors. And therefore, even though the minute details of this, I do believe that all councillors, and going forward, all councillors, no confidential information should be hidden from any councillor if it affects the whole council, because the whole council ultimately would need to agree what may be, I'm assuming, tens of thousands of pounds if that were to happen.
I think what you will do, Mr. Chairman, is go into confidential session now or sometime in the future. Then we are all in confidential session. And you will turn off the microphones and the cameras. And we will be told what's going on. Confidentially.
Well, just to clarify that, as things stand, there are no confidential issues which require a decision by council. as and when there are any confidential issues which require a decision by council, then they will be added to the full council agenda as a confidential item.
Sorry, to reply to Mark, I don't think you're quite understanding. The fact is that, as John has just, I don't know whether it's true, John has...
Just a rumour I've heard.
A rumour, and obviously the clerk has confirmed that, no, it's tribunal. The council is being taken to court. And that is information which every councillor now, we don't need to know the minutiae details of it, or the negotiations. All you're doing is kicking... Now what happens, these things take a long time, what happens in May, if you now then have a different personnel committee, and those members on that committee don't know what's happened because they were excluded from it in the first place. That is the danger of putting things in confidential session and isolating other councillors. I will be perfectly honest here, I do know exactly what is going on, and I've also seen all the legal paperwork, but not in my capacity as a councillor. And I would say I am horrified that I have not been informed of this as a councillor. So if anybody wants to know, please come to me. I'll let you know what's going on.
I'm asking you to approve the non-confidential minutes. I'm asking you to approve the minutes as published, that they are a true and accurate record of the public session. That's all we're asking you to approve. We're not asking you to approve something that you haven't read.
I'm fine with that.
But the minutes do refer to that particular part, so I think we need to specifically say that that needs to be taken out, because you're saying you're not asking us to approve the confidential session, but that is on the minutes that you're asking us to approve.
I'm asking you to approve it. That proposal's been seconded. I suggest we vote on that.
Okay, just to clarify again, proposed by Mark Goods, the second came from Anne. Those in favour of the minutes as identified on the paper. Those in favour? Those against? Are there any abstentions?
Yeah, me, because I wasn't here, I don't know what you're voting on.
Okay, that is carried. I'll move on now then to planning and estates. Now, just quickly looking through this with the papers you've got in front of you, there is one that you have got that is not actually on the agenda, and that is on the 22nd of September. Peter, you are the chairman. For the expedience of time, are you prepared to take them all in one go, or do you want to go through them individually?
There are some changes, but I'm happy to run through with the clerk for those. There are minor things about people who weren't here. There's nothing else. So
Okay.
yes, I'm happy to make it a blanket. These are true and accurate recordings, and any that aren't, I'm happy to, in the future, let people know what the differences were.
There is one point of order. I wasn't at one of these meetings, and it's saying I'm in attendance.
Yep, that's one of the things I'm aware of.
All right, thank you. I think it's... Can you help me speak?
Yeah, there was a meeting where John and I were both put as being present and we weren't, but I do think that that was, I think that was amended at last planning meeting. I may be incorrect, but I think Peter said to me it was amended.
It was the only thing.
For the sake of moving on quickly,
Yeah.
because I do have an item I would like to talk about. The last one, and I'm happy to make a blanket. This is true and accurate. Any differences, I will make clear at the next council meeting.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, I will second that from the chair. And just to clarify, when it says in attendance, it doesn't mean you're attending as a committee member. It means that you are in attendance of the meeting.
I wasn't in attendance, that's the point. I dropped Sharon off.
So we have a proposal to take them all as one from Peter, seconded by myself. Those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions?
I wasn't there at them, so I can't approve it.
So that is carried. Okay, we move on now to item 12, civility and respect pledge. Town Clerk.
Yes, we've sort of circulated a report on this, which everyone has seen. If anyone's got any questions or comments, then please ask.
Yes, I was actually very pleased to see this. What I would like to ask is this going forward or is it retrospective? Because there is a particular comment here where it says about councillors not being excluded, and I was specifically excluded from helping at the bonfire. And there are other things where certain councillors have been excluded. So I am very, very... I beg your pardon? They didn't ask me, I was informed. I offered my help and then I was ignored, so I sent a reminder email to Kerry reminding her that I had already actually messaged the clerk. And then at 3 p.m. on the day, because I'd cancelled everything for the Wednesday, I was basically sent an email, which I'm quite happy to share with you privately, where I was basically told, because you've got a back injury, you may not help at the bonfire because the ground might be slippy. But I could have done what Anne was doing. I could have helped on the road. I'd actually specifically offered to sell tickets, which I believe Keely had done from her car. But it was quite clear, the email, that I couldn't. And it was actually very, very upsetting and distressing to get that, because members of the public then say, oh, well, Emma doesn't do anything to help the council. And yet the true narrative is I was deliberately and specifically excluded. I don't want to discuss it now. It will trigger me and upset me. It has happened. I have moved on from it. But I want to know that going forward, that every single member of this council will respect every single member of this council. And when there are events, that certain councillors are not excluded. And that comes under the Disability Discrimination Act. My disability, actually, which is no longer a disability, was quoted. If I wished to, I could take the council to court over that matter, because that is disability discrimination. I was told I may not help because I'm disabled. And I can see that Mark Googe is laughing. I don't find it very funny.
Point of order, Kat.
Yes.
I was not laughing, and I would respectfully
Do not raise your voice at me.
I don't wish to see a cross-table discussion with
We
people.
just like to make the point. I was not laughing. I was coughing, and I would request that Councillor Nishigaki withdraws that remark.
I do not withdraw that, Mark, because you've actually done it all meeting on 3 occasions, and the video recording, oh well, it won't because it's behind you, may show that. So no, I will not withdraw it. Laughing may be a bit strong. It was a smirk and a sneer. And I've got other councillors I can see nodding. It was noted by other councillors as well. So no, I will not withdraw it. If you want to take me through standards, please do, and they can look at the footage.
Anyway, sorry, the civility and request pledge. In answer to your question, it's not retrospective, I'm afraid. It's going forward. When we agree it and we sign it and we get a certificate, then it will be implemented, basically.
Is it this one that we were talking about, what the Welsh have adopted?
Well, it's not just Welsh. It's not just Welsh. It's England as well.
England and Wales.
One Voice Wales is one of the organisations.
That's what I'm trying to get
now,
to.
yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a good idea at the time. You know what I mean? So the sooner it's signed, the better.
Okay, 15 minutes left. Are there any other questions?
I move that we accept the acceptance of disability.
Second. Okay, we have a proposal, we have a second. Those in favour? Anybody against? Are there any abstentions? Thank you. We move on now.
A quick one on that, now you voted for it. Can I suggest that in the event that any councillor does disrespect another councillor, that as a council, a referral is made immediately to the monitoring officer, and that includes passive-aggressive comments made on Facebook, like accusing me of being the anonymous councillor that spoke to Lisa Evans. She sat there and she will assure you that I wasn't even there. That includes comments like that, anything which is on social media, in a council meeting, raised voices. Raised voices is a specific trigger to me being autistic. That as a council, we as a council decide that this happened and we will refer it immediately to the monitoring officer to make a judgment upon it. And does the council think that that's a good idea?
Your point is noted.
I think it's covered in the power of principle.
I'd like to move on, if that's all right, please. Thank you. We come on now to website information.
Yeah, basically it was, I'm just very, very confused about a lot of minutes, particularly finance reports, missing from the Town Council website. Now, I appreciate that the office is quite busy and possibly a staff member down at the moment. I'm not sure, I'm just assuming from what has been said. But this predates that. I'm not sure if it was February or March. There are no finance minutes on the website. And I think that it is absolutely paramount in this day and age that as soon as minutes have been approved by council or finance that the same week, we have our meetings on a Monday, by the Friday of that week they have been uploaded to the website. So that's basically what my proposal is, that we catch up immediately and then, unless there are amendments or things that we stop this embarrassment with people saying there's no point looking at the website because it's not up to date.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll go through the list against our meeting list and fill in anything that's missing. That is a proposal that once minutes have been approved on a Monday, that by the Friday, whenever possible, that they be uploaded to the council. We've got to have a time frame of this, because February to November, or it might be March till November, is clearly not acceptable.
Okay, as it is a website matter and you've used the word proposal, is there a second to the proposal that has been made?
I don't even know what was the proposal.
The proposal was, I'll repeat it, that after minutes have been approved, like we've done today, or when finance minutes or things have been approved, that instead of just sort of sitting and getting filed away in the office, they are uploaded to the website, because finance minutes, so if people want to have a look at the council finances, they can't see them unless they go into the office and make an appointment to look at those. It should be in the public domain very clearly.
What I would say, just to answer one of your points, yes, there is a full-time member of staff down. There have also, over recent months, has been Melissa and Eleanor, who have been doing tremendous work. They are no longer with us because they're moving on with their lives. There are 3 members of staff, so they are doing an extraordinary amount of work. You may consider that there's no excuse for it, but we will endeavour to have minutes published onto the website within time. Emma, you wanted to speak?
In connection with the finance, there are a significant delay in getting them approved, but I do appreciate that Councillor Nishigaki was after approval, but there would be a significant gap in some of the meeting being approved.
I accept that. That's really, really fair comment. Just to make the point, yes, I do appreciate the staffing issues. However, there was no delay on uploading the report which is under investigation about me. That was done within a couple of hours.
Okay, any other points about the website? I can't take comments from the public. We are now in council session. Okay. But if you have a point that you would like to make, you're quite free to put your comments to the town clerk, and it will be dealt with in that way.
I will leave that.
Good, thank you. Any further comments or questions about the website? Okay, I'll move on then to 14. We have 10 minutes. Request a yellow paper for meeting paperwork.
Councillors, I brought this to your attention because sadly I've looked at over the last 6 months is our town clerk is extremely busy. And a lot of this is basically sending out surveys for buildings that have been neglected. Now what that's done is like for me. Now, I think that's unfair because I can't represent the people that voted me in. So I think I've come up with a solution. To the end of this council, all paper is on yellow. So I ask council's permission for that. I've been indicated that this will cost around £200 more to allow you as a council to make reasonable adjustment. So I do not feel that I cannot represent my people. Thank you. I'd like to thank Emma for the paper, but I don't think this should be just on one councillor to do it. This should be a council decision.
Just to come back to John, I was actually quite horrified when I heard that he had been told that, on occasions, that the reason why he wasn't getting yellow paper was because of the cost of it. Now, that is a consideration, and for that reason, much as I support what John has said here, more than 100%, he has every right to a reasonable adjustment. Now, that's a right in law. That's not a moral right, it's a right ingrained in law. And that, I was so horrified. But what I must say is, personally, I don't want yellow paper. I would find that a problem. And secondly, yellow paper is more expensive. I've paid £17 for those 2 reams. So it is a lot more expensive. But what I would say is that perhaps if there are councillors who prefer it on yellow paper, and it's a shame that this has to be done publicly, the humiliation of that, you know, because this very reasonable adjustment that he felt that he had no option but to come to council. So for that reason, obviously he's got his yellow paper for now. If anybody else wants yellow paper, maybe they can tell the clerk that. But personally, I would struggle with yellow paper.
Julie, and I appreciate these comments. We do have to finish there because the last item is vitally important for a health and safety aspect.
Well, I was going to say that I spent a long career as a SENCO, Special Educational Needs Coordinator, and I am very aware of Ireland's syndrome. However, the problem with it is that different people can be affected in different ways, and different people might need a different colour. So if we go all yellow, and then we get somebody who joins the council and needs another colour, then we could be in all sorts of problems. I just think we need to make sure that we get John yellow paper.
I have agreed to fund that.
John, you're reading off yellow paper now, and we make efforts to supply you with yellow paper for every meeting. There have been occasions at committees when we have overlooked it, but 99% of your paperwork is supplied on yellow paper already. The impression you've given quite strongly in this meeting is that you have not been helped at all. There have been no...
occasions that I have not had either agenda.
John, please, town clerk, you can speak afterwards with pleasure, all right? But you have interrupted when she's giving you...
I don't think this is an office problem, right? As I said, the office is so strapped with work that this can be overlooked. So what I was trying to do was come up with a solution to for the office, so their workload wouldn't be interfered with this. It would just be a simple matter of putting yellow bloody paper in the printer. That's it. It's not a very hard thing to ask.
Right, what I'm going to have to do at this point is the matter will be concluded, it will be dealt with, all right, between yourselves and the office. I need to move on to the last one.
I've asked for a vote on it, John.
All right, so is there a proposal?
The proposal is that all, from now on until the end of my term, all council paper in meetings is on yellow paper.
That could cause problems for other people then. I think as long as...
But so it's okay to cause me a problem.
I've got an idea.
No.
I've got an idea. Why don't you go down every Monday morning or Friday before the meeting and pick the agendas up yourself, save me doing it. And then that way, you're there.
You can do it yourself. Put the yellow paper in and swap it over yourself, because that's all it is. And photocopier is literally...
Do you know, I work. Do you know what I mean?
But I think the office...
Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'm not having this.
We all work.
I don't care, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I mean, you wouldn't ask a blind man he couldn't have his braille.
John,
do you see what I'm saying here? You know, again, here you are, disowning me.
John,
you know what I mean? At the end of the day, there has been times I have sat here and got really angry because I can't follow the agenda.
We agree with you, John.
But, you know,
everyone...
I don't matter, do I? Because I'm neurodivergent.
Of course you do.
No, I don't, because that's what you're saying.
Just send you the yellow ones. What's wrong with you?
You know, I have struggled and struggled and struggled. You know what I mean? And here I am again, getting triggered, right? Because I cannot get it across to you how this upsets me. Right? That I cannot pick up a piece of paper and read it. It's not fair.
John. We understand and we sympathise with it and we will do
what I was just trying to do, John, was take out that issue completely.
And have you made a proposal?
We're now at a point I have to move on
No, John.
because the next is a health and safety matter.
John's made a
But
proposal.
there is a proposal. Is there a second?
Oh dear. Second? Okay, right, very good. So a proposal from Councillor Campbell-Murd, second from Councillor Hemming? Okay, right.
Okay, those in favour?
Chairman, Mayor, could I interject now?
Yes, sir.
Could I suggest that when the pile of papers that predominantly are yellow, there is a selection of white for those who are not able to cope with yellow?
Well, I mean, do you
know
want me
that's
to do
a reversion of
50-50?
what's happening at the moment.
That's what I
Well,
tried to say.
So like 50-50?
Why can't we just make sure that John's got yellow paper? It's not hard. Just make sure John's got yellow paper.
Yeah, just make sure. I mean, it's getting better, don't get me wrong. But
point-
what I'm worried about is I'm going to lose my rag again when I find I come to a meeting.
Yeah, the
I mean,
proposal...
last time it was Sharon's fault because she'd been given the yellow copy, but she arrived late.
The proposal is for all committees.
To get away with that, then I won't rely on other people.
The proposal for yellow paper is for all committees, so that if John comes to a committee that he is not a member of, he doesn't have to plan it in advance, he can just turn up and then everything will be in
I
yellow.
know
That's
there's going
part
to
of
be a copy
the...
there for me.
But with the greatest of respect, why can't all the yellow paper that John requires be given to him?
Well, it is given to him. It's just if he's not... What we do is we do it especially for meetings that he's a member of.
Especially for John. Yeah.
It's just it has been forgotten.
Of course it is.
That's all I'm saying. And I thought the only way we could get over that problem of it never being forgotten is if it was all on paper.
You know. I promise you.
There has been.
Right, followed by Mark.
Okay, I'll be very brief. John, I understand your frustration, and it's very, and also for somebody who has ADHD to be triggered in this way. So I hope that all councillors won't feel too negatively about his outburst. I understand it, but what I would say is I think that this is really quite simple. If we could ask the clerk to ensure that every set of minutes for every committee meeting, there is one set of yellow minutes produced and always brought to the table. So should John want to randomly, I fancy going to a personnel meeting or fancy going to a thing, that there will always be something there. And if he knows in advance that he wants to go to a meeting, then he can say, do that. And I think, I don't know, because obviously Joe is very busy, but I'm sure that it's probably been an oversight rather than a lack of time. And that if they know this, now we've bought it, that when whoever is doing the photocopying, if you just have a notice on the photocopier, remember John, something like that, so that they always remember to put 10 sheets of yellow paper in at the end and do a copy of yellow. That, because he does deserve it, and it will not deserve it, he's entitled to it. I'm sorry, I don't think anybody meant that you should go in because you work John. I think it was a glib response. I don't think that that's genuinely what was meant.
It's just what you've got to understand. It's going to be people like me that are going to follow me into the council. And if we are not showing that we are prepared to be, and you know, you will not have disabled people come onto council because we're too frightened. And that's what you'll end up with. And we have a right to be heard just as much as anybody else.
John, I have to stop you there.
Okay, John, I'm finished.
Council, it is 9 o'clock. Standing orders say it's a 2.5-hour meeting, but we have to be true to ourselves, true to the community, because the last item, which I'm going to go back to the blue paper, the last one is a health and safety matter of the EVAC chair. I appreciate I may now be going against standing orders, but I'm going to propose that we extend this evening for a further 10 minutes to conclude this agenda item and then hand over to Peter about the EVAC chair. I'm proposing that. Do I have a second? Okay, proposed and seconded. Those in favour? Anybody against? Any abstentions? That is carried. We will conclude at 9:10. Right, I want to draw this one to a conclusion. We've heard lots of suggestions, and I'm now going to leave it as a discussion between John and the town clerk as to how they are going to make that happen. And I have to agree with one of the things I've heard is that for every committee meeting, council meeting, one set of yellow paper documents is available, and if John decides to attend, he's got papers. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. So I'm going to conclude on 14, come on to number 15, and hand over now to Peter to talk about the EVAC chair.
Thanks, Joe. 15 is about the purchase of an EVAC chair. The town clerk went through a process involving a company doing an audit of safety and fire. I was part of it. I've gone through various things with her. Some of them have been addressed. The one that hasn't been addressed, that really needs to be addressed tonight, is the fact that we need an EVAC chair. One will do, but it's not a question of do we need one, it's a question of we have to have one. Putting it bluntly, folks, at the moment we're in breach of 4 laws. So if something goes wrong, HSE will go through this council like turps through a sick donkey. Having been on the outside of an HSE investigation, it is not something I want to be exposed to. It's that simple.
Yeah. I think we ain't got much choice.
We need to choose one of them. I've only explained why it's powered rather than a manual. The people that will be trained, there'll be 4. Train the trainers. I volunteer to be one of them. Then everybody who does some activity, whatever it is, we need to nominate at least 2 people so that they can be trained as well. Confidence will be much higher having a powered one rather than a manual one. Second reason is if the lift goes, which has been known to an occasion, a powered one will bring people up. A manual one, yeah, not so much. They're pretty easy to use. The companies all are happy, all legitimate people. I've used one in this place. I've used them elsewhere in my role as a first aider. We need to choose one.
Yeah, please.
Peter, do you recommend that any of these three, have you got a personal recommendation?
I think that would be outside my purview. I brought it to council. I think council need to look at the information and decide. I do have one, and I'll weigh in the end.
Okay, so there are a number of people who wish to speak, and obviously we've agreed to an extent of time, and I have to stick with this. So, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I think this is, I didn't know about this. I didn't know that
We needed one, you wouldn't, but we do need one. So I'm going to propose that we have the EVAC Plus chair, which is the top one. I am at the bottom in terms of price, the top one in terms of non-pay. I am a bit stagnant of the cost of trains. And they're all about the same, but £1,000 to train 4 people? Is that 1 hour each, or is that 4 hours?
It's for people for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So you have to go through the whole process of
Yeah,
taking
you have
off.
to have it, you have to
It's
have it.
fairly involved.
Yeah. Where's it going to be kept?
Suggested place will be as we're coming into the hall. Right, you know where the tea and coffee was yesterday?
Oh yeah, up there.
There. It'll be wall mounted.
Yeah.
It doesn't even lift down, it just rolls down. It would be plugged in permanently so that it's charging up all day.
Okay, that's what I propose.
Good, thank you. I have 4 names. We have 4 minutes. Emma, followed by Mark, followed by John, followed by Sam.
I would be very, very quick. Probably not a question that anybody here can answer, but I'm assuming that the need for this would only be in the event of a fire evacuation or an emergency. If it was unwell, somebody being unwell, as was the case with me, I was removed by an evac chair, which all ambulances carry. So what we're actually looking for is a situation if there were a fire. Now, because we have to have one, I'm just concerned. I appreciate that having a powered one makes it easier. But I'm thinking because it's something which, God forbid, hopefully touch wood, would never be required, that we do the cheapest option and we look at the costs of having a non-powered one and just compare, because we are obligated to protect public money and to get best value for money. If it was something that was going to be used on a weekly basis, yes, absolutely. But because the chances are it's going to sit there, like the majority of defibrillators, you know, we pray that they're not used, that we look at. So that's just my, it's just an observation. Obviously, that's it.
Right, we have 2 minutes, we have 4 people, and we have to make a decision and a vote. Mark?
All right, in 20 seconds, I fully support getting a powered evacuation chair. I was going to ask Peter for his recommendation, given that he's presented the report.
Thank you. Not.
First thing I'd like to see is that the caretaker's trained.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the plan, yeah. That we've got a selection of people who need to be trained.
Dan?
Yeah, the first one, evac and chair, looks like the best deal all round for those listening.
Okay. Peter?
EVAC chair, that's the one I would go purely in terms of the warranty for chair, tracks and battery. It's not something that we can kick down the road.
Yeah.
The legal term is as practicable. So it needs to be rectified as soon as practicable. That's in the rear view mirror, far, far behind us, folks. We need a big decision tonight.
Yeah, it's good.
Cost is always very important, but do we pay for it and be legal, or do you want to face litigation? So we have a proposal for the EVAC chair, came from Andrew. Is there a second for that? Mike Aaron. Right. Those in favour? Anybody against?
Mayor, can I formally propose that Planning and Estates Committee be given delegated authority when we have a health and safety emergency to delegate it and deal with it themselves, because we have kicked this down the can a few times with, provided it's within the budget, John, if that makes you happier.
Okay, so we've had a vote for the EVAC chair proposed and seconded. Yes, we have gone over time. I thank you for your tolerance in that. There has been maybe disagreements and discussions, but it has come to a conclusion and we have achieved a lot tonight. I declare the meeting closed.
Oh, I was going to second him.
It was seconded.